My name is Mark Masterson. I am the Associate Superintendent in charge of Information Technology. I am speaking first because my boss, Superintendent Huppenthal, is running a few minutes late. He thought, I'm coming to a meeting with 10 or 20 people. And I said, well, you better change that expectation. I think there's a couple hundred in here. And that's exciting for him. In fact, he got extra juice, so in 20 minutes or so when he comes in, and his 20 minutes is probably going to be 30. So you can throw all the darts at me, because since I came on board with him, effective in January 3rd, I think it was, prior to that, little history of me, I was the Deputy CIO for Government Information Technology Agency at GITA for the state, and I spent 9 months there. Before that, I ran global shared services for a company called DHL Deutsche Post. So I come with a very broad technology background, and you probably, the one thing I want to say is that please measure from now on IT's progress based on our actions. We are really changing, and the first thing I can tell you is I spent 2 months or a month before I took this job working with several superintendents, several customers. I didn't even go into the IT, asking them what's the problem. They kept telling me, well, SAYS. SAYS is the problem, one of the problems. And there's multiple problems, because our agency gives you things that aren't funded, and we don't give you enough time to do things. We just say, here, do it, make it happen. So what we're trying to do is listen. So let's quickly switch to SAYS and what our vision is in the future. And what our vision is starting January. Hopefully you've noticed that online has been online. Has everybody noticed that it hasn't turned off? A couple times. We've got some, I hope I don't need to tell anybody in here that the technology that SAYS was built on is 1998. In IT perspective, under Moore's Law, that's 7 generations. Really old. Really slow. And the software design was 1970s or 80s design, which means if anybody in here is technology, which some of you probably are, and I'm not talking down, I just want to make sure my language is to cover the whole audience. It's like basic programming, where everything is written in a straight line, and it's not where I can do multiple branches and multiple processes at the same time. That's why you're seeing the challenges you've seen. Plus, SAYS was built for one reason, and then over the years, and the people that built it probably did a darn good job based on what they knew. And there's probably people in this room that were a part of that. But because legislation changed each year, and there's not a lot of money to rebuild, we bolted on. So you have a stovepipe with warts bolted on. Lots of warts. So it sort of wobbles. And it works, but not very effectively. And I've done some deep dive over the last month. And another thing that we failed to do in the department, and one thing you won't see us do is blame what happened pre-January. They had to do what they had to do, and what we're doing is looking at it from a point in time and how we make it more customer-focused for you. And that's our whole objective. When the superintendent asked me to take this job, he said, your customer is the student at the far end of this pipe. The parents, the teachers, the principals, all the way up. So I've been trying to listen. There's a lot of darts flying. And the big thing that I keep on hearing is about the SAYS was offline 2 weeks a month. And so what we did, so you know what we did, is we broke it. We took onlines, created a separate box, and we took integrity, put it in another box. Well, this system wasn't designed to be broken. So we created more break-in parts. Hopefully you haven't seen that. I get to see it. Right now we're in the middle of a 27 million record integrity run. We're running every level of integrity as we speak, but you're still online. That would have never happened. 27 million records on the architecture that we're in. We process about 1.5 million records a day at a time. That's because in today's technology, and I'll tell you about that in a second, but it's my belief we could run the whole integrity run in less than 3 hours with today's technology. But since I don't have that, it's taking a long time. Another thing that we just put into production yesterday, which you should have been, and maybe Terry Mendez works for me. She's the call center, so some of you probably talk to Terry, and a lot of you write nice letters about how well she tries to support you. She wanted me to tell you that yesterday we put in all the reports that you've been missing for the last month, including SAY's integrity. So we had a bug last night. They've been working all night. And this is another change. ADE was not used to doing IT in off hours. We figured we'd take it down when you're working. Okay, well, I come from a company in a background that IT is down when you're not working. And we fix things when you're not working. And it's my job to get people comp time and fix their whole life balance. But this is a shock. Another thing that we weren't doing with SACE is fixing anything, which you knew. I walked in there and we had 300 open tickets. Probably more than that because you gave up. I figured I wouldn't write another ticket if nobody answered on the first one. But we have built a SWAT team, and I'm going to use the term for some of those that you understand it. I'm a believer of agile development, which means very short bursts of development, very quick, meaning that I don't take these long 6-month projects because they never get done. So I take things and break them down into small bites. I built a team of 4. It's going to grow to 6 of people that are focused on SACE. And their job is to start putting the tickets in that you've opened and addressing the issues that you have stated you wanted fixed. This is the old platform. It won't get perfect. I'm not promising you that this is going to be, it's still ugly, it's still got warts, it still wobbles. Another thing you're all interested in is aggregation. We sort of missed the 40-day one. But as I understand, you've missed the 40-day aggregation since time began. So maybe the first SAYS run ran 40 days. We've missed the 100-day. But I understand that's not abnormal either. So what I wonder is, why did we call it that? Was it setting expectations we would never hit? What I'm worried about is I don't think I can ever hit the 40-day because of legislation and based on us getting business rules and business requirements, which is another change we're doing in the Information Technology Department. We don't write the requirements. I mean, we don't say what the rules are. Too many times IT tells the business, is this what you shall do? No, the business tells us what you want to do. Creates the rules, and we work with each of the departments in the agency to get those, plus our customers, plus the legislature. Now, it's a two-way street. Sometimes you're going to ask me for something that I can't do, and then we have to negotiate. But that's the difference in the department that I'm running than in the past. So back to SACE aggregation. We actually produced a plan. Hopefully it's going to get in your hands. A plan has not ever been put to the customer's hands. I'm trying to figure out what's the best avenue to get information to you all, and I'll ask that question at the end of my period when I see the superintendent come in, because I want to open up a channel. Obviously, I look into my mail, Microsoft Mail, and I look at the directory, and the directory is so big, I wouldn't know. I sent it to everybody. Probably half those people are dead. And I don't know if they're getting it. And what I really need to figure out is how do we get information into your hands so you know what's going on? And that's, to me, the most important thing. But aggregation, we have a plan. We're shooting for March 21st for our first run, and that's after we've tested it for a week. So when we split SACE, we also have to split aggregation. Because if I don't, when I run aggregation, you'll be down. So that's what we're doing as we speak. We're splitting aggregation into a box like integrity so that you're never down. Now our goal, something that the governor is supporting us with, is she gave, I built a 4-phase project in the last month. I've only been there a month. So we built a 4-phase project to look at the hardware. The machine itself, like I told you, it's old. She gave us $250,000. So we went out and bought, and it's on its way, a single platform that is today's technology. I won't get into how many processors and storage and memory and stuff that doesn't matter. It does. It does very much matter. And then it's going to be our new sandbox. Because now, this new platform, the challenge is it comes with the operating systems that run these new platforms are a lot more advanced than the one we're operating on. So we have to see, will SACE port to this new platform, or what are we going to break? And then if I break things, I got to fix them before you see it. But we have a high expectation, high meaning 60%. I won't go any higher than 60. But for IT world, 60% is pretty good. 60% probability that we believe this new frame can easily be ported, and we'll be able to operate, upgrading some of the Visual Basic to what's now more .NET, upgrading the SQL to a higher level, and give us more robust performance. That by next legislative session, I think you were down 15, 16 weeks this year, before school started. I heard that loud and clear. That how does one, and especially with the amount of transfers we do, how do you know what the student is? You end up retesting them, re-spending money. It's very difficult for the administrators to manage this type of process. So my goal, and we'll keep communicating somehow, is that we won't be down. We will be live next year. And the way you're going to measure my performance is the system will never be down. Because that's a new change in our department. They have to call me when the system's down. I don't care if it's down for a minute. I want to know. I want to know why it's down, what they're going to do to fix it. This is normal IT if you work at any other company. Right, you go to the bank, you get your money out. Sometimes it doesn't work, but boy, you're really pissed when it doesn't work. Because 99.99% of the time, it works. Well, that should be this system too. Now you want to roll back and you say, what are we going to do in the future? Because SACE can't live the way it is. We've been working with a very eclectic team with Maricopa County and Don Covey, ASU with Scott Riddle and his team. And what we're doing is looking at evolution of what we have. Does everybody understand what the SLDW is that ADE has? The Student Longitudinal Data Warehouse? Okay? Probably don't have enough visibility, so I'll put that as a subject and talk about that in a second. But we're looking at how do we evolve data. Because everybody in this room, there is probably people in this room that are coming from very large school districts with enough money to keep your systems updated. There's probably people in this room that are coming from school districts that have paper that don't have systems. And what systems they have aren't that advanced. So we're trying to look at this as a holistic. We have a pilot that we're going to run with 6 school districts from the Maricopa side and 16 school districts from the ASU side, all K-12. And some of these school districts are